To the cloud. What's up, B minor?
X Factor.
We're here. It's Sunday night. If you can see me and hear me and hear me and see me, it's Sunday night. Well, maybe not because you might be watching this on replay, but if you're live, then it's Sunday night.
Hey, what if somebody's in Australia right now? Would it still be Sunday night?
It would actually be Monday if you're watching live and in Australia because they're like a day ahead. So we know tomorrow's going to happen because there is people in Australia.
Yeah, that is true, actually. They are literally seeing into the future. So if somebody says that Australians can't see the future, they're lying to you.
Because they can, compared to us, but compared to some people, I guess there's nobody ahead of Australia, right?
Your present is an Australian's future. No, an Australian's present is your future.
There it is. That's the truth. That's the true statement. If you didn't get anything else and you're tuning out right now, you've just decided to stop watching. Right now, the present in Australia is your future. Maybe. Well, tonight we have a guest, Coach Michael Williams, the head coach, City College of New York, women's basketball head coach, also the founder of Williams Advancement Agency, which we're going to get to talk a little bit about tonight. So if you're here, you're in the right place. If you're looking for advice about getting to play in college, about how to be a college coach, if you're looking for advice about how to have a beautiful girlfriend, we can have Pont answer. If you want information about a beautiful wife, you can ask me, coach, family guy. So we're excited. Pont, give us a little opening shout. Give us a little something here to get us started.
Yeah, no doubt about it, guys. So first and foremost, what Brant just said was absolutely true. If you need advice about anything, including a beautiful girlfriend, we can make that happen. So just hit my line, hit my DM. I don't care what you want to – well, let me watch how I phrase this. I don't care how you want to contact me. Go ahead and contact me that way. But this is what I'll start us off with. I'll start us off with a nice quote. I've had it saved for days because I absolutely love this one, and it's great. So you are so very unaware of just how much you can accomplish, how much you can change your life in only a span of 24 hours. Brant, I was watching a video the other day, okay, and this was right after practice, and it was a video that coach really wanted us to see. It was a video about how you can literally change your life all with one decision, for the better or for the worse, right? So you can go to the gym, right, make the right decision. That can change your life for the better. Because let's say you went to a party instead of going to the gym. You had this decision. Hey, man, these baddies are going to be at the party. I don't know if anybody else is baddies. Maybe it's just a Chicago thing. Maybe everybody says it. Anyways, these beautiful women are going to be at the party, right? And you got to go over there and do this and that. Or you can go to the gym. Now you're going to give in a temptation? Maybe. What if something happens at the party? What if you get caught? What if this happens? That happens. You get kicked off the team. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever happens. The inevitable will eventually happen if you keep screwing around, for lack of better terms, right? Make the right decision. Your life can change for the better or for the worse very, very quickly in 24 hours. So why not change it for the better? Start a business. Go to the gym. Start a podcast like we did. Hey, how long did it take us to start this podcast after we said, hey, let's do it?
We made it happen. That's the thing I like about you, X Factor, is you're not just a talker. You have your own business. You're still in college. You're doing things. A lot of people say, oh, Brant, like I had an idea of starting a basketball tournament at a hotel. Cool. I did it. You know, thoughts are kind of cheap. It's about execution, and that's one of the reasons why we have tonight's guest with us, Michael Williams, founder of Williams Advancement Agency, helping college basketball coaches. I've been networking and meeting a lot of his clients that he's helping advance in their college career as a college coach. So Coach Williams, first off, just thanks for being here, man. I know you got a family and everything going on back there in New York, so thanks for taking the time tonight.
Of course. Thank you. Whatever I can do. I love this. I love y'all show. So y'all killing it.
Almost. Every flood starts with a raindrop. I'll say that one again because I love that saying. Every flood starts with a single raindrop. And so we might not have the flood waters coming yet, but we have started to rain. And we have over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube now. And it's amazing how this kind of started as an idea, and this is episode 19, I believe. So, and we've done 2 a week. So for last few months, we've just been interviewing people and having a good time on Sundays and Wednesday nights.
I'm gonna actually steal that quote, by the way. So.
Take it. Anything I say is probably stolen from somebody else. So feel free to take it, and you can quote me, and you can put Brant Miner hashtag probably somebody else. But no, that's the truth. Every journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, and every flood starts with a raindrop. I got one more I'm gonna give real quick before we get into your background, Coach, and talk a little bit. This is one, somebody asked me for advice about their start in school, a new school year. And they said, hey, I'm starting tomorrow. What can I do? What advice would you give me as an incoming freshman about to start high school? And the quote that I love, establish yourself as an early riser, and then you can sleep till noon.
Mm-hmm.
Establish yourself as an early riser. So get out of the gates, start out hot, start out fast, get to know your professor, sit in the front row, ask questions, get off on that positive foot, start out with positivity, and establish yourself as, hey, I'm a student. I'm sitting in the front row. And then if you need to, later on in the semester, maybe you miss a class, maybe something comes up, but you'll have already established yourself as that early riser. So make sure when you're getting off, starting a new school year, starting in something new, establish yourself as that early riser, and then later on, down the road, you can sleep until noon. I thought that was advice that students starting a new school year might be worth them hearing.
Absolutely.
Brant, I absolutely love that, and let me tell you why. Anybody who knows me knows that I love to sleep in until the craziest hours, if I could. Like, I love to sleep. I want to get 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep. If I can get 10 hours of sleep, I'll take it in a heartbeat. But, like, at the end of the day, you can't do that. Like you said, like, I mean, once you become the boss, like, for me personally, like, I, still can't stop. I guess that's just kind of who I am. But, like, once you become the boss and you really, like, get to where you want to be, then if you want to sleep until 12, you have that decision. Now, are you sacrificing, some more work that you could be doing? Probably. But, hey, if you work your tail off all day or whatever you were doing the previous night, if you set yourself up for success, hey, man, you want to sleep till noon? You can sleep till noon because you establish yourself as an early riser. I love that. I'm stealing that, too. I'm stealing all types of stuff. Quotes.
I know Caleb's writing it down. Caleb's the type to be taking notes over there in the 808. It's late on the East Coast. It's afternoon in Hawaii. So we're not just east side of the country, west side of the country. We span all the way to the beautiful state of Hawaii. So thanks, Caleb. So Coach Williams, we had a little talk earlier. I texted you and told you about how we do some quotes. Yeah. Share with us that quote you gave me, because that was a powerful one. Give us that one.
So I saw a Will Smith interview, and he said, if you and I are on a treadmill, two things will happen. Either you're going to get off or I'm going to die, and you're not going to outwork me. And for me, that resonated so much with me, because I always say I'm not the tallest. I'm probably not the not the smartest, but I outwork everybody. And I think that's what I've done early in my career, starting out as a middle school coach, high school coach, AAU to college. I just start outworking everybody, and it helped me get where I'm at now. So I just love it. Just resonates. And I think if more people do that, you're going to be successful.
I love that. And by the way, I just want to clarify, is this the same or a different interview with Will Smith with the entanglement?
No, this was this interview happened during the release of I Am Legend.
I already know, man. I just had to bring up the entanglement.
Every time I talk about Will Smith and the entanglement.
Every time I hear his name, it's like second nature. You got to bring up the entanglement.
Yeah.
His face, he said, an entanglement.
Hey, everybody got their definitions of what happened. So
the lion is not the fastest in the jungle. It's not the tallest in the jungle. It's not the strongest in the jungle. It's not the biggest, but it is the king of the jungle because of its mentality. Mm-hmm. The lion is a hunter. It's not the quickest. It's not the fastest. It's not the strongest. It's not the biggest. It's not the tallest, but its mindset is what makes the lion the king of the jungle.
Absolutely.
Jungle?
Yeah, lions are in the jungle, I think, right? They're in the jungle. I don't think they're in, like, would you be surprised to see a lion in, like, a rainforest? You think you could live out there?
He
I
probably
don't know. 'Cause I don't really think of Lions. I think of more. I don't know. What do you think, Coach Williams? Settle this one.
I
What?
think a lion can live in the jungle or rainforest, but I think they prefer the jungle more.
What if
What
you put
about
him
the
in, like,
desert?
you think he's gonna adapt?
At the jungle, yeah, desert, I think he or she would die.
It might be over with.
Yeah.
It might be over with for the Lions.
Well, I don't know about that, but what I do know, Coach Williams, is you're a go-getter that started your own agency. Talk to us a little bit about how you went from college basketball coach. I know you've been a head coach in Boston for, was it 3 years you were in Boston as the head coach?
Yeah.
And then now you're going back, and you're from the city, right? You're from
Yeah.
New York City, so back home, getting to coach. Tell us how you got started your own agency.
Pretty much so. I've been fortunate, and I like to say this. I guess I'm blessed. I have had a lot of success in, I guess, a short period of time in 11 years of coaching at the college level. I've been coaching before that, but 11 years in college. And, I won a national championship. I've done a lot with player development and getting players where they need to go overseas. Then I got my first head coaching job at Pratt Institute. That's in Brooklyn, a specialized art college. Walter Rickard, who's the AD there, and then Ryan McCarthy, who was the associate AD there, gave me the opportunity, and it was a blessing. From there, I kind of got poached a little bit to go to Simmons University. And as a head coach there, that was a great opportunity. I learned a lot, especially administrative wise. And for a lot of coaches, I think that is really important to learn the administrative side of athletics and just even basketball, because it's like a different world. Like, the one thing I learned is, and I hate saying this, is college is a little bit of a big business. And it was hard for me to see that at first going to Simmons, when you start thinking every kid is worth $1. But it taught me a lot about the administrative side of athletics. And then they had a big budget cut, and then now I'm back at home at CCNY. I should have been out there in Portland, but everything happens for a reason.
Things do happen for a reason. We would have loved to welcome you out to the West Coast.
Yeah.
Would have loved to have you out here in Oregon. Yeah. But things do happen. Family comes first, as we know and as I believe. So you got to do what's best for you and your family. So maybe soon.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Like I said, I'm looking to become an AD soon. So if there's an AD position out there, assistant AD position out there, I'm for it, because that's my overall goal. But then, so I've been helping a lot of young coaches get their foot in the door, understand the network of basketball and how to actually go about it. And I think that's what it really came down to. I have helped a lot of friends get jobs and mentor people who became first head coaches of don't make the mistakes I have made and other coaches have made. And that's kind of how the whole thinking started. And I remember Dennis, who's the head men's basketball coach at Benjamin Franklin, I really helped him prep for his interview and everything like that, and he got the job. And he was like, man, you're great at this. You should be an agent. And I was like, I've thought about it, but I'm not sure if I'm ready for it. And then I helped another person. Then I was like, you know what? It's time. But I think the biggest thing that really resonated with me, that I need to start my own agency. So when I came to CCNY, I was looking for a third assistant coach. And I had put the job application out there. I had interviewed 20 coaches. And it was not until my 21st, Ashley Yee, who killed it. Everybody else is like, man, your resume looks good, or some of them didn't look good, or their interview, like they was like, what are you talking about in this interview? And I was like, man, initially I was like, I want to do a conference for young coaches. But then I was like, you know what? Let me start with an agency first, start helping coaches get jobs. And what it has actually turned into, other than representing coaches, helping them find jobs, knowing what jobs are open, because there's a lot of jobs that are not posted. And I'm fortunate enough that I get to know all the jobs, whether it's on the East Coast, West Coast, Pacific, wherever, where it's open or not. And then even now overseas, I'm getting some people telling me, hey, I got this coaching job overseas. Do you know? So then from there, I was like, hey, I'm going to do that. But then I think I'm becoming an adopo a little bit. And I'm okay with that. A lot of my clients need help with a bunch of things. And I'm like, hey, I got you. Whether it's setting up a booster club or recruiting stuff, helping them, figure out how they're going to do recruiting. I'm all over. And I think that's what makes me a little bit different than most agencies. It's not more just about the hiring. It's everything in between. how can we make our clients successful, not when they get the job, but when they're throughout their whole job and career. So
I love the wholeness of your agency. So it's not just about being a good coach. It's about more than that, and long-term vision is what I see when we talk about it, when we've discussed it. It's not just about the right here, right now, getting that job. You're always interviewing for your next job with the job you have right now.
Absolutely. To give you a good example, when I first got to Simmons, the AD there said she saw me when I won my national championship as an assistant. And I didn't meet her, but she was like, man, I've been watching you. And that tells a lot of people, you never know who's watching you. And when that job opens up, that's when they're going to call somebody to call you. Because a lot of times they're not going to call you directly unless they're bold. They'll be like, hey, you should tell this guy to interview, or this woman to interview for that job, because they're watching you throughout your career. So you're absolutely right.
You know,
go ahead,
no, I was just going to say that's so important, because we tell players that, right? As a college coach myself, I'm telling players that I work with, you never know who's watching, right? You never know who's watching you, because it might be in a small gym and you don't think anybody's there, but there could be a coach, or there could be somebody that knows somebody. So you never know who's watching. It's the same thing as a young coach or old coach.
Mm-hmm.
Or podcast host. You never know when ESPN's going to call and say, hey, we want you. We want B Minor and the X Factor on our network. You never know.
Yeah.
And I think
they haven't called me yet. Have you got a call yet?
I can't disclose that information, B Minor. But
they're probably calling you and they're like, oh, you got to drop the dead weight. You got to drop the first part of your show title.
If they said that, I would hang up the phone the second they said it.
That's
too nice.
Loyalty goes a long way.
Loyalty does reign. Loyalty does go a long way. No doubt about that.
Man, if you don't have loyalty, man, what do you have? All you have, this is the way I look at it in this world, man. All you have is your word, man. Like, all you got is your word, man. Like, all the other stuff's materialistic, this and that. All you got is your word, the relationships that you build, and the way you feel inside, man. If you're out here not being loyal, I started a podcast with B Minor, all of a sudden, hey, forget it. I'm going to sign with ESPN and get big bag. And like, nah. Come on.
If it's big enough bag, drop me, go for it, and just toss me a little bit on the side. We'll be good, man. I'm not going to try to hold you back.
No, trust me, man. Everything comes full circle, man. Everything comes full circle.
For sure. It is. What about for high school players, Coach? So I know we have some parents, some AAU coaches, some high school players. What advice would you give to a high school player, male or female, that is looking to play beyond high school? What advice would you offer?
I think the first thing you said you don't know who's watching you. I'll be very honest. I'm one of those coaches. I might not come in my coaching gear. I'll tell you a good story. When I was working at FDU, we were recruiting this girl from Delaware, and we came after practice. None of us had our coaching gear on, and she didn't know that we were there. And she cursed out our head coach. And they were up by like 30 points, blowing out a team. She was an amazing player. But we was like, you know what? We don't want that. So I think that's really important. You never know who's watching you. Even during the big AAU events, like when you go to DC, Chicago, Kentucky, those big AAU events, sometimes the coaches are not just watching what you do on the court. They're watching how you interact with your family. Like, are you going to be crazy after the game and flipping on the floor? Like, it's so important that you show a good face throughout the whole time. I think that's really important. But it also tells you, coaches want to know who you are, because I think the old generation is getting a great player doesn't count anymore. Like, they know, once you get on campus, are you going to be a good citizen? Or I'm going to have to worry about coming to public safety to get you.
Yeah, man, I think you're bringing up some incredible points. And, like, that goes a long way, because so many people look at the game of basketball just as, like, what can you do on the court? Can you put the ball in the basket? Can you dribble?
Mm-hmm.
Can you pass? Can you shoot? Blah, 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 blah. Nah. Like, because at the highest level, like, now you're talking about agency. We're talking about, like, playing ball at the highest level, like being able to provide for your family and for your loved ones off of, the game of basketball. So, like, a lot of people can put the ball in the hoop. A lot of people can shoot, dribble, pass. So, like, what makes you different? What makes this guy different from this guy? Because this guy's tweaking after the game, throwing a fit because he played 39 minutes instead of 40 minutes. This guy over here played 25, 30, whatever, efficient minutes, did everything he was supposed to do. NBA scouts are not stupid. Trust me. They've been doing this for a long, long time. They know what to look for, and they do a pretty good job at it.
Yeah.
That's why they're where they are. So yeah, that's really important. Really, really important for the people watching. Like, don't just think that because you're a bucket that you're gonna get paid to be a bucket. Like, you have to be the whole package.
Yeah. I think another good one is grades. I think that's the biggest one. I meet so many kids that don't have good grades, and it's like, yeah, you're a great player, but I can't get you into my school. So the better your grades are, the more opportunities you're going to get. And I think that's really important. I think AAU coaches, make sure you send out your players' grades, SAT or ACTs. I think that's extremely important. Send it out outside of just the video, because then now you're wasting that coach's time. You're wasting your time. Just send all the information out on regarding that player. And then I know this is in the East. So funny. I actually talk about the West Coast a lot, comparing like standardized tests, where like on the East Coast, it's like SATs, everything. But then I'm realizing kids from the West Coast I recruit are taking the ACTs. So I always tell recruits, take both, because colleges don't care. They just want to see which one you got the highest score, and that's how they're going to accept you. So just take both standardized tests, and you'll be good. Even though I know a lot of schools this year are not looking at it, but years coming past is going to come back. So
there is test optional schools, but it is smart to take it. It's not going to hurt you to take it. It's going to help you.
Yeah.
I love what you said about showing up. I know I try to show up before the kids know I'm there and watch how they go through warm-ups. Are they positive touches? Are they giving high fives? Are they encouraging? Are they engaged in it, or they have their head bone? I mean, what type of teammate are they? So I definitely look at that. You also talked about academics. More options, the better your grades are.
Yes.
If you have a 4.0, you might have the opportunity to walk on somewhere, because if you don't have a 4.0 or you don't have grades, as a walk-on, you got to help the team GPA.
Yeah. And you know what's so funny? You said that I've been to a school, I won't name the school, and I know other coaches have been to the school where the administration is saying, hey, I need you to recruit kids out of college who has a 3.5, 3.7 GPA or 4.0. Why? Because it makes the school look better. Or even the same thing, I've been to a college where it was like, we need you to start recruiting international kids, because that makes the school look better. So everything counts. I think that's what kids got to understand. Every little bit counts, and you just have to be open. And I think another thing I think a lot of kids get misconstrued with is trying to only go to the big name schools. Daniela Wego was a player out in Staten Island, New York City, and she had a few D2 offers, and she decided to go to Division III, Fairleigh Dickinson University. And it's so funny because a lot of her other friends and teammates went to D1, D2. They weren't playing, and she became a star there, won 3 conference championships and everything else like that, and she had a great experience. So I think you got to realize what you want to do and how you want to be successful, or you're just going just for the name of the school. Like, I know me, if I was playing, I want to play. I want to play. I want to have a great experience. The name of the school is not going to matter, I think, to me, as long as I'm going to get a good education regardless.
Go where you're wanted. Go where you're wanted. I think that's something that's so important, is go where you're wanted. If they recruit you and they're spending time, rather than holding out for maybe a D1 offer, if you're a D2 player, go where you're wanted. Go where you're wanted. I also think how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes.
I love that quote. So if you cut corners in the classroom, if you aren't touching the line off the floor, you're probably not going to touch the line on the court. So how you do anything is how you do everything. And the last one I took away was body language screams. Body language screams. Your body language when you're a player, so talking about how to improve your chances of getting to play in college, get better grades, get yourself or make yourself so you're not a risk on or off the floor. You're not going to turn it over. And then take care of your body language. All those things, body language takes zero talent.
Yeah.
But it's all about the mental aspect, right? And that's one reason that I love the X Factor, is because his body language is just radiates. And I know you're just still looking at me, but he's throwing up the X sign.
No, I was looking at him. I saw
on the screen, the replay, the people on YouTube watching this on replay can't see how juiced he's getting right now. And I'm not even going to, he's amped up, he's fired up. But body language screams.
Absolutely.
And make it scream loud too. Like, do not be afraid. Like the number one thing that I would recommend for anybody who is literally doing anything, but like a lot of people who play basketball and who are like aspiring to play at the next level, whether that's from high school to college or college to pro or whatever. What I would say, man, don't be too cool. Like, never be too cool for anything. Like, that is a surefire way to play down. Like, if you're a D1 player and you're too cool, you might find yourself playing D2, D, like, you know what I mean? Now, I mean, that's great. You know what I mean? Every level of college basketball, and I hate when people, you know, try to classify the things, but like, you will definitely be, you know, definitely have some consequences for being too cool. Don't do it. Be out there.
The cool guy gets their butt kicked. The cool guy has a long and distinguished history of getting their butts kicked by the hard worker. And I know as a coach, I'm not impressed by the cool neon arm sleeve and, you know, like, I want some substance, and I don't need your neon undershirt to make you stand out. I want you to stand out because of how hard you play, how resilient you are, how selfless you are, how tough. Those are the things that should make you stand out, not because you got the cool arm sleeve.
Yeah.
The cool guy does get his ass kicked by the tough hard worker for sure, every time.
Yeah.
We're going to be the ones to do the ass kicking, it sounds like. I like to be on this side of the fence.
Yeah.
I don't want to get my ass kicked.
I've been the hammer and I've been the nail.
Oh, yeah.
I've been the hammer and I've been the nail, and it's a lot more fun to be the hammer than the nail. I know we've talked about my style of play that we play at Pacific a little bit. I've won games, and this, I don't know if I should be embarrassed to say it. I've lost games by, last year, same season, we lost a game by over 70, but we won a game by over 100.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's punishment.
Yeah.
So when I say I've been the hammer and I've been the nail, the hammer game, when you're up 102 to 27 at half, that's a lot more fun. But you have to, if you don't experience a little bit of both in your life, you wouldn't appreciate the wins if you didn't. And I don't want people to play easy on me. I don't care. We lose by 70, we got to get better.
Yeah.
We win by 107, doesn't matter. We got to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Bingo. Let's see. We got some guys dropping some information. What's up, Coach Mitchell? Coach KG's in the house. So we got guys from North Carolina, Oregon, the 509. What's up? What's up, Mr. Foland? Appreciate you guys watching. So advice, we gave a little bit. What about when they're trying to contact you, Coach? Because I know I'm getting a lot of emails right now. You're probably getting a lot of emails. What type of things would you suggest to try to get the initial look from a college?
I think it's be respectful. I have gotten emails that said, player you need. Like, how do you know I'm the player? How do you know you're the player I need? So just be respectful. Subject line could be guard 2021 and your name. And then start with, hello, Coach Williams. I'm very interested in CCNY. I would love for you to take a look at my highlight tape or game film I have. I would picture what major you wanna major in, because I think that's important. For me, I don't want kids who just want to come to the school to ball because they're gonna get out of the school quicker. So everything has to align for me. We have to have your major, and then picture, like I said, your GPA, SAT. Because for me at CCNY, I won't look for a kid because we're a high academic school. If you have lower than a 3.1, I can't even look at you. It's just that simple. And it's nothing personal. It's just the school is not going to admit you into the school. And I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to take $65 out your parents or your pocket for you to apply, just to apply knowing you're not going to get in. So I'm very transparent. So give me as much information as possible and just be respectful. But I always say this to, and I think this happens to AAU coaches who do highlight films for players and players. When you do highlight films, please make sure that you're showing that the player can go both ways. Because I picked up on that, like a player is he's only driving to his right hand, and he's only making threes from one corner. So I'm like, can he make threes from another corner? Can she dribble with her left hand? But then when you see her in person, it's like, yep, that's why the highlight film when everything's to your right or everything to your left, because you don't got it.
So true. And I've never seen a highlight film with a guy missing shots. Right? And if you do, get a new editor, get a new person that's your producer of your film. But if you only show the one make, maybe you're 1 for 4 every game. So what I do, I look at the bench. I mean, I know the shot's going in, right? Because it's your highlight video. So if the bench is just sitting there, you don't usually make it when it goes up, or your teammates don't like you. Either one of those not good. But if the bench is like, let's go, oh, then you know it usually goes in, you know, or they really like you. I know the bench goes crazy every time Pont makes a shot, which how many have you made?
A whopping 1.
1 point. The one free throw this kid made, though, for DePaul, the student section, everybody went crazy.
That's awesome.
I guess you don't want the students. I guess I don't want them to go too crazy when you make a shot.
Because then it's like, oh, there was no way he was gonna make it. Oh, he did. Oh, wow, what a surprise! Which I think, honestly, if we're gonna be honest here, guys, I think that was the reaction.
That's why they reacted that way.
I'm not hurt about it because I still got the cheers and the oohs and the ahs, and as long as I get those, hey, I can tell myself whatever story in my head that I want to.
But make sure that your highlight video shows diverse what you can do, and it has to make you stand out. Because like I said, every highlight video, the kid makes every shot. So I saw a video the other day. First 4 clips were charges, them taking a charge.
I love that.
And then it goes into them making their threes, you know, showing their diverse game. Mm-hmm. But to catch my attention, the first 5 seconds was pop, pop, pop. And then it was him giving high fives.
Yeah.
Like, that's unique because everybody starts out their highlight with their furthest away from the basket 3-point shot.
Yeah. That's
what I've seen. It's almost every highlight video they go through and they watch the whole season, every make they have, and then whichever one's the furthest away from the basket, that's the one I'm gonna use to start my highlight video. Which, if it's the one you made and no one was excited you made it, not that impressed.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the other thing players should know just a little about the school. And I think that's impressive when you know a little about the school, or just talk about the major program that you want to get into. Because especially at the Division III and Division II level, not so many kids are going to go play overseas. And for me, it's about the holistic approach for me. Like, I have 100% graduation rate, and I want to keep it that way. So I think, but you know what I mean? Every coach is different, but I think if we're coaches that are thinking far beyond just playing basketball, it's bigger. It's bigger than basketball. So
I think that's a great point. It is bigger, and you have, if somebody says, hey, sometimes I just get those form letters, right? Dear coach, I want to play. And sometimes they even forget to change the school name. Or they forget to change my name. And it's like, dear Coach Willis, I really want to play at Linfield College. It's like, then why did you email me at Willis University? Or I really want to be an engineer. Well, we don't offer engineering. So I don't know why. And so I think that showing interest, the genuine interest, if you've done genuine research in my school, you're a lot more likely to get a genuine answer back. If it's a shotgun approach, like I'm just going to email every school in the country and hope one of them gets back to me. I get back to everybody, but I'm a little unique. I'm a little uncommon. We've already established that I'm a little different. But sometimes it's, hey, you really want to go to Linfield? Maybe you should email Linfield's coach. So I try not to be too big of a smart ass, but sometimes when you can tell it's just a blind carbon copy, you don't even know about carbon copy. Or blind carbon copy. It's just straight to Coach Minor, and then in the CC, it has every other coach in my conference's email. I reply.
Yeah.
It's usually like, hey, you know, something a little bit sarcastic.
Yeah.
Hey, B Minor, what was the one that the guy sent you? What did he say? Point guard interested or something?
That was all it said, Coach. The subject, point guard. Then in the body of the email, it just said interested ? That's the whole email. That's all it said. The whole email.
These kids got to
B Minor responded.
I did respond, and I responded, maybe. Never heard back. He probably got so many replies that mine just got lost in the shuffle. But I replied, maybe. and he never got back to me.
You should have been a GIF in it. You should have been a GIF, like a baby GIF.
Well, just like that.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, but it did. I mean, like I said, you got to try to do something to catch their attention, and that was probably one of the more humorous one-word emails I've ever got. Was just, "Are you interested?" Question mark.
Yeah, I think another thing that I think student athletes have to learn is better phone decorum. Or even, and I'll even say this, make sure your phone message, your voicemail message is actually professional. And it doesn't have to be like you're working at a Fortune 500 company, but don't be like, hey, you reach me, I'm busy. Like I have heard like I'm busy out here drinking. I'll hit you when I hit you. Like what? Like these kids got to understand like college coaches want good citizens. I use that word a lot, good citizens on their campus. So that's important. Or even if you're out with your friends and we call you, it's like, hey, coach, I'm out with my friends right now. Let me call you back. Don't try to step away and then we hear everything that's going on in the background. I think a lot of kids need to learn better phone decorum when they're talking to coaches. And then even returning calls. I think that's a huge one. Players don't like returning calls.
Kids like to text message.
Hey, coach. Like, oh, hey, coach, what's going on? Oh, he just fell off the table. Oh.
And try to let your personality show a little bit too. I guess be yourself. Could be horrible advice for some people. I guess I don't really know you.
You might suck.
You might suck as a person. You might suck as a person. So maybe trying to be somebody else is a better.
I actually try to help them out, like get a little bit comfortable because I know it can be intimidated sometimes. So like I'll just ask them random questions like, "What's your favorite show?" And then if we have a show that's very common, like I had one recruit back at Simmons time. She was a big Walking Dead fan, so that was like a connection because I love Walking Dead. And I used to tell like, hey, did you see what happened? So I think that helps out. So like tell a coach like, hey, here's my favorite show. Or like every team I ever coached, they all love The Office. And like, you better love The Office if you join in our team.
It's so having a little personality, because sometimes I try to ask open-ended questions, right? As a coach, you don't want, but then if they're able to answer open-ended questions with one word. So how do you enjoy being a student at La Lumiere High School? Good. So what was your favorite part of this last school year? Homecoming. It's like, come on, give me a little more. Give me something.
Yeah.
Give me something. Especially if I'm talking to you and you get to see a little bit of my enthusiasm and you're just like
Well, you know what I get a lot? Like during the phone, they don't talk too much, but then they text me every other question. They're like,
right? Why didn't you just ask me that question when we were communicating verbally?
Yeah.
People are so scary, man. People don't know how to talk anymore. Like that's like a big problem with honestly like our generation, the young ones. People don't know how to talk to people, man. Like everybody just wants to hit the Twitter fingers. You know what I mean? Text each other this and that. Like, bro, talk, speak. I want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And you want to talk to me too. Let's do it.
Yeah. And you know what? I would love just to start working with AAU and high school kids, just preparing them for the recruiting experience, especially like freshmen and sophomores. I think that's one thing I want to get into, just because I see it and I hear it all the time. It's just like a nightmare for a lot of coaches and a lot of kids who are really talented or really good people. Just because they don't have good form of decorum, they lose out on opportunities quickly.
So true. And that's sometimes not taught. So I don't know. We can either make excuses or we can try to help. And that's what I've tried to do. Instead of just saying, oh, this kid's a dud. Hey, like I'll help them sometimes. I'll be like, hey, give me something, man. Like I feel like I'm pulling your teeth out here trying to get an answer. Give me something. And trying to loosen them up a little bit, trying to have a little bit of fun. But yeah, Michael Scott quote or something from The Office, or just, I always ask those questions because I want to get to know the kid deeper than just hoops, right? Yeah. So we have 15 minutes. Every 15 days, we meet with every player in our program for 15 minutes to discuss 15 life goals.
That's awesome.
So that's just something twice a month. You're going to have to sit with Coach Miner. And we've been doing them Zoom, and we do them FaceTime over the summer, but it's one-on-one, and that's where I get to ask questions. You have to come up with your 15 goals, 5 academic, 5 athletic, and 5 personal development goals. Mm-hmm. And the first couple of times we go over those goals, and then after that, it's usually just how's your girlfriend, how's school,
Yeah.
you know, kind of just chop it up a little bit. But we start out with those goals. But that's part of our program is I'm trying to get to know the kids because it's bigger, right? As a college coach, I know Coach Williams, you feel the same. It's not just about the next 4 years. It's about the next 40.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Bigger.
And I think that's really important. That also helps coaches get better players. When your players are coming back to watch your games, support you, coming to your practices, and they see the connection you might have on social media with them. I think it's just beautiful to see that. I will say this though, I think student athletes should also learn when the coach is actually interested in them or they're just recruiting them. I think that's really important. I think there are tons of coaches who are just recruiting, and student athletes don't know if that coach is actually interested in them. And I think it's, like I said, it's everything. It goes both ways. Like, even though we're kind of like interviewing for the player and we want the player because her or his talent, the player needs to make sure the coach is the right fit for her or him. I think that's really important too.
For sure. The buzzword fit, but has to be both ways.
Yeah.
And it has to be more than hoops. You can want somebody and they're talented, but they might not be an OKG, our kind of guy. That's what we talk about. We got to find OKGs, guys that are selfless and tough, that have resiliency, that are mentally and physically tough. But I think there is coaches sometimes, and that's just being able to read people and trying to see genuineness. One of my favorite jokes is sincerity is the key to a relationship. Once you can fake that, you're good. Right? I mean, obviously, that's pretty funny, right? Like,
No, you're right, but it's true too. There's a lot of truth into that, though.
Once you can fake being genuine, you're good.
Yeah.
No, well, that's awesome. Well, I know we got some coaches. Caleb, I'm going to call you out because I know you, and I know you have a question prepared because you're one of my guys. Max Hoops Helps. You're one of the guys we're working with, kind of. That's one of the things Coach Williams and I are going to be talking about soon. So I'm going to unmute you, Caleb, and you can ask Coach Williams your question. And if you don't have one prepared, you're going to be chewed out later. I know he's prepared.
What is like a best quality in a recruit? Like, what makes him stand out from other players?
Well, I think I'll say this, right? So every coach, like, especially in this generation, there's tons of kids that can shoot, right? There's tons of kids that can dribble. What else can you do other than shoot and dribble? And I think that, look for that. Whether that's, how do you positively communicate to your teammates? I think that's huge. Like, how many high fives? Like, Steve Nash is one of my favorite point guards of all time. And I remember I was reading an article on him, and he gave 1,000 high fives during one game. Like, that's crazy. 1,000 high fives in one game, and that was when he was with the Phoenix Suns. So make sure you're doing something that other than shooting and scoring, because and you won't believe I had so many players who had a chance to try out overseas, and want to talk about one. He actually tried out for the G League, and it was like, you're a great shooter, but what else can you do? So we make sure you can do something other than that. Whether that's how you positively communicate to your teammates, how engaged are you? Like, those are all big things. So I look at that a lot. And then mental toughness. I think that's what everybody always talks about, but it's so true. Like, we all know how you're going to react when everything is great, but how are you going to react when things like go wrong? So
how do you handle adversity? That's huge. I love that. Sorry. I had to jump in because how you handle adversity speaks volumes. It's easy to be a good teammate when you're winning, right?
Yep.
When you're making shots and your team's winning, everybody's positive, everybody's cheering each other on. Then you get a couple losses, somebody gets hurt. How do you handle that? So sometimes I like to see a kid that I'm recruiting taking a whooping. Not a lot. I don't want to see him getting whooped every game, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes just to see how they handle it. How do they handle adversity? Are they still positive? Are they still trying as hard as they can? Or do they give up?
Yeah. Even my former assistant, Tracy Klingensmith from Boston, she used to say this all the time. But what is your mistake response? Like, how do you respond to mistakes? And like, for her, she was huge on that. And she'd be like, pull her out. And like the way like she turned over the ball and the body language is bad, and she didn't run back on defense. She's like quick to pull her out. So your mistake response is always key. Like even if you mess up, just get it back on defense. Do something else. Like, and I always say this. So if you're not scoring, what else can you do on the court? A lot of people think your only value is scoring the basketball. And like for me in our locker room after games, I never talk about scoring. I don't be like, hey, Riley, great job getting 49 points against LaSalle. And it was crazy because Riley, who plays for me, she's the leading scorer in Division III, and she scored 49 points against LaSalle, and I didn't even talk about it. Well, I talked about, hey, great 7 assists, great rebounding. And for us, we track how many charges you take and all the other stuff, how many times you got back on defense, dove for a loose ball. So I think, remember that a lot of coaches more than ever are looking at that because analytics are becoming huge now. I hate it's great and I hate it at the same time because you look at the Rockets, they just use analytics for everything and you can't track analytics for everything, but there are some good things that analytics does like we do. Like we track how many charges you taken, how many loose balls did you dive on the floor for. So those are all big.
I love that you track charges. I also, if you can score 49 and your coach doesn't tell you good job, come play for me because I'll tell you. No, I'll just joke with that one.
You want and deserve.
Well, here's the thing. I talk to her and I during our individuals. I always praise her. But in front of everybody else, I don't because I don't want – everybody has a role on this team.
For sure.
And maybe your role on this team isn't scoring the ball. But if I'm only praising you for scoring the ball, they're going to be like, man, I want that role. So I learned that a long time ago. Like, give compliments for everything else that everybody does, and then individually. And Riley knows. Me and her text all the time. I'd be like, I've been like when Dallas was playing LA Clippers, I was like, you see Luka? I'd be texting her all the time. And sometimes she texts me back. Sometimes I know she's like, I'm tired of you, coach. So I'm not going to text you back.
I love that, though. I think and be a star in your role.
Yes.
So if you're a scorer, if that's your role, score. Like, I love a guy that can get me 30. Don't do it on 30 attempts. Right? But if you can get 30, don't sometimes passing can be selfish if you're a really good shooter.
I absolutely agree. I yell. I'd be like, you're wide open. Shoot the ball. Like, shoot the ball. You're wide open.
But if you can get 49 in the game and do it fairly efficiently, bring it. Bring it. So you sound like a boxer. Well, Coach, I do appreciate your time. I don't know, KG, do you got a question? Do you got any other questions? Coach Mitchell, if you got anything, I can unmute you if you want to. Okay, I'll get you here, Coach. Let's see if this is the right one to hear you. I'm not sure which one you're on. Let's see if you're unmuted on. Let's see if I can figure out, because I think you're on both of these. Let's try this one. Let's see. Still can't hear you, Coach. Check. See if you can unmute yourself, Coach. Let's see. You see him, he's on both of them. He's got his phone going. He's got his computer going. But maybe just type the question if we can't. But
that guy's good at all.
He's got both of them there. He's trying to figure out how to get unmuted, and I'm trying to figure out how to unmute him.
There's all the angles right there, man.
He does.
You gotta get up.
There we go. We can hear you, Coach.
Can you hear me? Oh.
Mute one of them. Mute one of them.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can
Got
hear
you. What do you got? Give us something.
All right. The question I have is, how do you find kids across the state lines, like across country?
I do it 2 different ways. I go to the huge recruiting events. There's huge recruiting events that are in DC, Chicago, where there's kids from all over the country and the state. So that's one of the ways. And then for me, online recruiting, like Be Recruited, NCSA, field level is huge. So I use all those just to recruit.
I think a lot of it is relationships too. So I think a good way to get yourself out there is to build relationships with coaches in different areas. So for you, I know your son's a hooper, but you're also trying to help other kids on kind of a club program. So build relationships, stuff like you're doing tonight, Coach, getting to meet people from, I'm out here on the West Coast. You got coach up there who knows a lot of men's and women's coaches. He's currently a head women's coach. But just building your network so that way, because I know I'm more likely to recruit somebody if Coach Williams is like, hey, you should check this guy out, rather than if I just get an email from them. You know, like I said, I'm going to respond, but it might not be as serious of a look as if it's a personal, warm referral, if that makes sense.
And I think another big thing that's, I think, a hidden secret now that people forget, go to college camps and clinics. Like, those are huge. And I know it's not as popular anymore when 5-star and all those camps were like huge back then, but those are a great way to get noticed all over. If you go to somebody's camp, like a few years ago, I worked BC camp and there was tons of studs there. And I worked the men's side camp. And like I said, I was like, wow, he's going to be good when he gets older. So I think that's good. MIT does a really good camp there. We're obviously with COVID, we couldn't do our camp this year, but there's tons of great camps.
That's a good one. Going to camps, and you can't go to every camp in the country, so you got to try to do your research and find out schools that would be a good fit for your player athletically and academically. And then that shows that you're serious about them because you're taking your time to go to their campus, to their camp. So that was a good question, though. I think getting out there and getting to camps is huge. KG, can you hear me?
Yeah, Coach. Hey, good evening.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Let's go.
Yeah, sorry, my voice is gone. We're just getting back from St. Louis. We just popped that Larry Hughes team and won that championship.
I saw that.
Congrats.
The chip. Let's
Yes,
go.
Appreciate it, y'all, man. Thank you for y'all time. Just quick question from a coaching perspective. I know a lot of coaches use Twitter. From marketing perspective, is it like disrespectful or is it a no-no to like directly tag a college coach to like a Twitter post if I'm like marketing a player or a win or anything like that?
For me, I personally don't want that to happen. I'd rather you DM me directly rather than tagging me on it. And I think it's also important. Every school's a little different. So some schools are a lot stricter with the NCAA compliance, and you don't want coaches to feel misconstrued as, hey, they're openly communicating, because I know the NCAA doesn't allow coaches to message right in like the message box, so they only can DM recruits. So I think that's really important. But if you have a relationship with that coach and he or she tells you she's okay with it, that's fine. Just be aware that some schools are a lot different, and then some are stricter than others. So.
That's a great point. I think that's very true. I mean, some coaches don't mind, but there is also that where like we can't comment, or we can't like comment. We can like a tweet, but we can't
comment.
You can't comment on an Instagram post, but you can like it. So I think knowing the person, and you don't want that to just be the first time or the only way you communicate with them. Like for me, KG, I don't mind you tagging Max Hoops, because I know you and I know what you're doing. But if you're just randomly tagging coaches, they're probably gonna be like, why is this guy blowing up my Twitter?
Okay, cool. That's what I figured. That's why, if I ever tag you, I always use the Max Hoops one instead of like your personal one.
Yeah, so that, like I said, I don't have any problem with that tag, but it is good to get to know the coach, see what they think, and then DMing them, I don't drop into their DM. I don't know what you're supposed to say without saying.
Yeah.
Call it out.
Don't be afraid to DM coaches, though. You know what I mean? Don't slide into it, though, but don't be afraid.
Appreciate it, man. Thank y'all.
Yeah, be strategic, though. And I think it's kind of like the pretty girl at the dance. If you don't message the coach, you're not going to hear back from them. If you do message them, they might blow you off.
Right.
Either way, both those scenarios, you get the same end result.
You don't send a nice message though. Don't just send a slide emoji.
Dropping names, grades, and everything. Gotta have everything right.
Gotta have it right, and you gotta have something that's uncommon that speaks to that coach, that shows that you've done a little research on that school and that it's not just a blind shot in the dark.
Yeah. Okay. And I would say this though, if you're sending the same recruit, if you're sending the same recruit over and over again, and the coach is not messaging you back, that's kind of like an indication that he or she's not interested. Like I had this during the whole pandemic where, you know, a lot of AAUs were playing and CCNY is not allowing us to do any recruiting, like on the road, going to events. And a coach from the AAU program messaged me 20 times about going to all their AAU games. And I already told him I can't go right now. So just be aware of that.
Okay. Yep. Thank you, coaches, for your time.
For sure, KG. Keep winning. Coaches, college coaches do like club teams that win.
Okay.
Because you're going to be playing in better courts. You're going to be playing in front of more coaches. So winning does help as a club program. So it's not just about the spotlighting the one or two kids. It should be about winning, and winning. Coaches like winners for sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Hey, another quick question, if you got a second. Like as far as like posting things, like what's a hot time for Twitter for college coaches, like day and time of the week?
I think once again that varies for coach to coach. You know what I mean? I get, for me, I have the messages. So anytime I get a Twitter, somebody tweets something, like I have a person, some followers that if they tweet, I know when they tweet and stuff like that. So I think it all depends on the coach again.
I'd agree with that. I think it does. I don't think there's a certain time. In Twitter, you can post more because it doesn't like clog up somebody's feed as much as an Instagram does.
Okay. Yeah, and that was great advice too you gave me about Twitter, about not using a tag at first, because you said it would go directly to them instead of your audience. So that's great advice for you guys out there doing the marketing. That was great. I didn't even know that.
That's a good one. I think Pont, I don't know if Pont knew that one, that if you start a tweet with an @ symbol, it only shows up to the followers that follow you and the person that starts the @. Did you know that one, X?
Yeah, no, you actually taught me that one. I had no clue actually,
didn't know
because
that.
I did that, and then I learned the hard way. I was like, hey, not a lot of interaction, and then Brent was like, yeah, that's a no-go.
Hey, hey, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you can have an old dog teach young dogs new tricks.
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
I'll take it.
That's all right.
Take it. I don't know. An old dog. I like old dogs. They're a little more mellow, but I feel like I'm still kind of like a puppy sometimes with my energy level and how excited I get about things. But
I will say this: you guys are more than welcome. I'm having a Zoom conference, so just hit me up or DM me for the link. I'm doing another Zoom with Coach Jones from BU, the men's coach, Coach Mark Mitchell from St. Peter's, and then Coach Katrina from Wright State in Ohio. Just talking about longevity and success in basketball and how they achieve that. So feel free, if any of you guys want to get on anytime, just hit me up, DM me, whatever you guys want.
And that's on, you want Williams Advancement Agency on Instagram?
Yes.
Let's put that in the chat maybe so the guys that are here now can get it. But it's if you're watching this on replay, Williams Advancement Agency is the handle, is the name of the Instagram.
Yeah. But that's going to be a great one, just talking about success and longevity and coaching, because all three of those coaches have years and years under their belt, successful. Coach Jones just won his conference again, so he's huge. So
that's big time. That's awesome. So yeah, you guys got that website. There's the website. There actually should be 3 W's there. www. And websites. I'm just giving you a hard time, Coach. If you can't see, he only put www dot instead of www dot. All good. Well, that was awesome, Coach. Pont, you got any closing thoughts?
I want to say at the end of the day, keep striving to be the best version of yourself. Don't be too cool. There's a couple cool takeaways. Well, I guess I shouldn't use the word cool after saying don't be too cool. Are a couple great takeaways from this segment that we had today. Do not be too cool. Keep your grades up. Make the right decisions. And at the end of the day, one single decision can benefit or depreciate your life. Yeah, that's right. Not only assets depreciate, your life can depreciate by one decision. Just one. That's all it takes. One. Sometimes the snowball affects a lot of decisions, but sometimes if you make one that's screwed up enough, mess up your whole life. So don't do that. Strive to be the best version of yourself. And hey, rock and roll, baby. You're going to be
I think
just
that's
fine.
great advice. One decision can mess up the whole rest of your life, or it can positively impact. I know I'm thinking we had a player this year break his hand momentarily. So I'll tell this quick story. We were playing at Puget Sound. We're down 3. We're down 3 with 2.1 seconds. They foul us to put us at the line. In classic foul or defend situation, they foul us. We make the first one, we're down 2. They call timeout. Our coach says, all right, Davis, miss it off the left side. Marcus, you come crashing in, tap it in, and we'll go win this stuff in overtime. Works to perfection, but even better. And 1. Marcus goes to the free throw line, makes the free throw. We're up 1. We're up 1. They inbound it towards the free throw line. Ball gets knocked out of bounds. 0.7 seconds on the clock. We're still up 1. Their coach is going crazy. They end up putting 1 second back on the clock. A kid catches it at half court and spins. Net. We lose by 2. To make it worse, it was at the school that our head coach was the head coach for 12 seasons before he left. To make it worse, Marcus Wallace, the leading scorer in the conference, getting 20 points a night, momentarily lapse of judgment and selfishness, hits a whiteboard. Last game he ever played for the Boxers. And so that momentary decision cost him the rest of his senior year. But what I will say is that I told him, because he was down, right? He was really disappointed. Obviously, he knew that he'd screwed up. It'd been a selfish decision. But I told him, hey, at least your momentary lack of good judgment didn't end you up in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's not the most consoling thing when he's walking around with a splint and a cast on his hand. But like you're saying, Pont, that moment, that 1 split-second decision that you get so mad that you punch somebody in the nose, and then all of a sudden they're in the hospital and you're in jail, like that you just got to make sure that you make good decisions, keep yourself out of trouble, and nothing good happens after midnight.
No.
That's true.
No.
That's what I got to say. And we end it like this because I'm a walk-on. I was a proud walk-on when I was in college, Pont.
I'm currently a walk-on right now
No.
as we speak.
You know how we do it on Sundays and Wednesday nights. If you're going to walk
Walk on. Walk on, baby.
Let's go. Walk on.